You've probably seen 1,000 pictures of it, right? It's one of the most famous buildings on Earth. But this isn't just about architecture. This is the story behind it, a story of incredible passion, devastating heartbreak, and one single promise that created something that would last forever. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. At its core, this isn't about marble and minarets. It's one of the greatest, most powerful love stories ever told, period. So, where does a story like this even begin? Well, if you're picturing a grand, stuffy palace, you'd be wrong. Nope. Our story starts somewhere much more live, much more real. It kicks off in a bustling marketplace, the Mina Bazaar. Just try to imagine it for a second. The noise, the energy, the smell of spices in the air, silks flashing in every color you can think of. And right here, in the middle of all that beautiful chaos, our two main characters cross paths. You've got Prince Khurram, young, strong, basically the future emperor. And then there's Arjamand Banu Begum. She's only 14, and people said her beauty could outshine the moon itself. The legend is, the second he saw her, everything else just vanished. The noise, the crowds, gone. It was just her. You know that feeling, that jolt, when your heart just stops for a second? That's what we're talking about. The kind of instant connection that stories, that legends are made of. And for Prince Khurram, this was no simple crush. He knew. Right there, right then, he had just met his destiny. Of course, royal life has its rules, so it wasn't as simple as just getting married. They actually had to wait 5 long years. But finally, in 1612, they did. And he gave her a new name. A name that said everything. Mumtaz Mahal. It means the chosen one of the palace. I mean, wow. Talk about a statement of love. Okay, so now they're married, and this is where their story really takes off. And look, this was way more than just a typical royal marriage, some kind of political deal. What these two had was a real partnership, a bond so strong it would go on to shape an entire empire. So pretty soon, Prince Khurram is crowned Emperor Shah Jahan, which means King of the World. And Mumtaz Mahal? She wasn't just a queen sitting on a throne. Oh no. She was his #1 advisor, his absolute best friend. She went everywhere with him. Seriously, even to war. For 19 years, their marriage was the stuff of legends. People looked at them and saw what true love really was, like two halves of the same soul. And you can just imagine them thinking, this perfect life would last forever. But stories like this, they often have a heartbreaking twist, don't they? So, it's 1631. They're on a military campaign far from the capital, and the unthinkable happens. Mumtaz Mahal, after giving birth to their 14th child, she becomes deathly ill. And the king of the world, a man with unimaginable power, could do absolutely nothing to save the love of his life. She died right there in his arms. She was only 38. But just before she died, she asked him for one last thing, a promise. She asked him to build something so beautiful that no one on earth would ever forget how much they loved each other. She wanted a place where her memory would be eternal. I mean, have you ever lost someone you truly loved? It's a kind of pain that just hollows you out, right? It's like all the color just gets sucked out of the world. And that's the world Shah Jahan was now living in. His grief was, well, it was absolute. They say his black hair turned completely white in a matter of months. He went into mourning for 2 whole years, locking himself away from everyone and everything. But then, somewhere in all that darkness, he remembered. He remembered his promise to her. And that promise gave him a reason to live. He decided he would build her a paradise, right here on Earth. And with that, one of the most incredible, most ambitious building projects in the history of the world began. This was never just about building a tomb. No, this was about making a dream real, carving it into stone. First, just let the scale of this sink in. 22 years. It took 22 years to build. That is 2 decades of constant, backbreaking work, all for one single vision. And how many people did it take? Try 20,000. An entire army of workers, artisans, and craftsmen brought in from all over Asia. The best of the best. And to move all the heavy materials, like the massive blocks of white marble, They used over 1,000 elephants. Can you just picture that? 1,000 elephants, all dedicated to building this monument. But the real magic is when you get up close. It's in the tiny details. They use this incredible Italian technique called pietra dura. So what they would do is first carve these super intricate patterns, like flowers and vines, into the marble. Then they would inlay these tiny, perfectly shaped pieces of precious stones, like jade, lapis lazuli, turquoise, right into the carvings. Finally, the whole thing was polished, so it was perfectly smooth. It's like painting, but with jewels. And you have to understand, nothing about the Taj Mahal is random. Every single detail is packed with meaning. The brilliant white marble, that symbolizes Mumtaz's purity. The perfect, mind-bending symmetry of the whole structure, that's meant to represent the peace and balance of heaven. Even the 4 tall minarets, get this, they actually lean slightly outwards. It's a genius move. Why? So that in an earthquake, they would fall away from the main tomb, not onto it. Incredible, right? So he did it. Shah Jahan kept his promise. He created what is arguably the most beautiful building in the world. But his story, well, it had one last heartbreaking chapter to go. In what has to be one of history's cruelest ironies, Shah Jahan was overthrown by his own son. He was put under house arrest, imprisoned in the Agra fort right across the river. And for the last 8 years of his life, he was a prisoner. The only thing he could do was gaze out his window at the Tajmahal, the monument to his lost love. When he died, he was finally laid to rest right next to her, in the tomb he built for her, together at last. And today, hundreds of years later, it still stands. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's not just a monument for India, it's a treasure for all of humanity. When you really think about it, the Taj Mahal is so much more than a building. It's a message, written in marble and jewels. It tells us that something breathtakingly beautiful can be born from the deepest sadness. And maybe, most importantly, it's proof that love, real love, is the most powerful and enduring force there is. So that kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? It makes you think, what's the greatest thing that love has ever inspired you to do? What will be our legacy, big or small, built out of love?